Good afternoon. Welcome to our Gaia application training video, September 10th, 2020. And we're devoting this training to Gaia for two big reasons. One, our 4x4 group needs a replacement for MotionX. MotionX is what we learned for an iPad or a tablet navigation application for our 4x4 group. It's an excellent program. However, it's no longer supported. Now, if you still have it on your tablet or your phone, it'll work. However, I'm afraid that it probably may stop working in the future with iOS upgrades. And also new people can't get MotionX. And so new people joining our group, new 4x4 people can't get MotionX, so we need to move on. Gaia seems to be an application that'll work for 4x4s. A number of us have tried it. It's got a wide variety of maps with forest roads, and it'll be also useful for hikers as a supplement to your handheld garment. It won't replace your handheld yet. With some people, you may feel that it should replace your handheld, and it's better. It's got a wider variety of maps. But the deputies aren't set up to transfer tracks from a phone, an iPhone, or an Android, whereas they can transfer tracks from handheld garments. Okay, so with the Gaia, the maps are much better. They're more detailed, and they're a much wider variety of maps. I think Gaia has over 50 different maps, depending on what situation that you may need a map for. Gaia is very useful for iPhone navigation and iPad navigation, but with your phone, just be conscious of battery life. My iPhone normally go 24, 30 hours, just normal use, full access to cell networks, just full normal use. When I've used Gaia full time on my phone, battery life has gone to 4 to 6 hours. So just be aware of that. If you're on a long search, you may run down your battery life, and you may not have your battery life on your phone for when you need it for communications, to call other team members or to call the deputy, for example, when you're out of radio range. So we advise that everyone takes along an extra battery for your cell phone. I myself, I bought an iPhone battery case, and I haven't had a problem with running out of battery yet. Okay, so first with Gaia, we're gonna spend time learning the app. So first we're going to learn how to navigate the app, and then we're going to spend time using the app to navigate. Okay, be aware that I'll be demonstrating on an iPhone and an iPad. The Gaia system works very well on Android, but you should be aware that the Android screen, Android menus will look different than the iOS, iPhone, iPad menus. There's an excellent help menu that I'll show you in Gaia that actually shows the difference between Android menu screens and iOS menu screens. Okay, I think with that, let's just start with looking at the iPhone app. This is the Gaia app on the phone. It'll look almost identical on an iPad, but with the iPad or tablet, Android tablet or Android phone, with an Android on a tablet, of course, the landscape's better, and you'll just see more menu options. Let's click on here. Let's start in the upper right. So that's that multiple layers is actually layers of maps. And down here I have inactive maps. Up here I have active maps. These are all the variety of maps that you will be able to use. I have my recommendations that are right here. This is recommendations that I found good for search and rescue. I will show you those later. Click done here, maps goes away. This is a very useful menu option. This is how you start recording your track. This is how you add a waypoint. You know, you get a waypoint of a subject. This is how you add it here. If you want to add a waypoint of where you're at, where your phone is at, you do this. So we use this one, record a track. We use add waypoint my location. Download maps is when you download maps for use when you're in the field and you don't want, you may be out of cellular communication, and take a picture. And now I'll show you how to use all those later. Let's go to cancel. This, press this, it takes you to your location. So there's a location at my house. Let's move away. Okay. Press this again. This localizes you on the map. Takes you right to where your location is on the map. Okay. This is a little 4 arrows. You touch those arrows, and it just gives you more screen room. It's more dramatic on the iPad. Okay. Let's touch this again and go back. Okay. This is a search function. And so let's search for bear. And you can bring up things like Bear Mountain. You need cell phone service for that. It'll bring up your track, and usually if you click on this, it'll then show you a picture of bear and track, a little bit about the trail. I haven't used this as much, but it's available for you. Let's go back. On the bottom here, you continually going to the map. So if you go, if you're on any of these other menu items, you press map, you'll come to this screen. Let's go over here on settings. Settings is like any app, how you control the way your app looks. Here's the account. An account. What I want you to look at in your app is you should have this trial membership. 343 days left in your trial. That's the free VSAR trial through Gaia. Okay.
Tim?
Yep.
A question.
Sure.
How do we get that on there?
Well, we've been experimenting, Don, with when I send you a link to the VIA team.
Yeah.
The Gaia team. That link in your phone. Open it on your iPad, and it takes you into and find for a membership. So those of you that don't have that in your account, I will send you an invite. Okay. It's been a little problematic. I've been trying to figure this out. Sometimes it doesn't work for some people, Don, and then I have them close the Gaia app, actually close it on their device, and then reopen it. And then I send them another link to invite, and then it works.
Okay.
Tim, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's breaking up pretty bad.
Agreed.
I missed that whole last bit that you talked about.
I think it might be best to mute everyone else because I think there's some interference occurring. I'm hearing the same thing.
Okay.
So only those that want to speak to unmute and then, remute yourself when you're done.
Okay. Yep.
And one other comment for me, I did notice on my phone, the subscription shows as premium member, not as trial membership, even though I never paid for it. I just used your trial membership.
Okay.
So,
So maybe on an Android it's showing differently.
it might be, yeah.
Okay.
When I went to download this, it asked for, and you could continue on using your Facebook login. I don't have Facebook. I don't use Facebook.
And neither do I. That's an option. You can use Facebook login if you want. I would never do that. You should use a login screen. Sign up for a free account is what I do, Pat.
All right, I have something on here, so I have it on, and I have it on my iPad. Okay, thank you.
Tim, I was able to log in with my Gmail account instead of Facebook.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute so I can mute all. So right now I'm going to mute everyone and just unmute yourself if you have a question, okay? Okay, you're muted. Oh, that's fun.
I have a question, Tim.
Yeah.
On the top of my screen, where if you could show me your phone again. Going back to the original screen.
Okay, like this one or?
No, the very first one that shows that one. So below, under the second line where you have record, camera, elevation, and the coordinates. On I don't have that. I have record, I have distance, and I have maximum elevation. How do I, is there a way to, like on our garments where we can customize what we see on that top there?
Here, I'll show you how to do that now. So this is called like a data row, and on the iPad or tablet, it's much longer. What you do is, so I'm going to touch this elevation, and see you get different options of what you can put in that box. Okay, so I chose, let's say I choose ascent. Now, ascent goes there. Now I touch it again, and I want elevation to go there. And it works on this box too. When you touch, this one, actually all of them, you see, I put record button here. That's how you start recording a track. You can also change that to any one of these options. I would just use that as recording. My choose on the phone as elevation would be useful, and coordinates. These are coordinates of where you're at. So that's, Peg Cook, how you change those little squares, okay?
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back down here to settings, okay? So we were just in this account, just to remind you, and touching account. And if you don't have this trial membership or premium, let me know, and we'll work through resending you an invite. Maybe you close your Gaia app, reopen it, and I'll send you another invite. It's worked with a few people. The things
Well,
that,
I've got a question, Tim.
sure.
When I'm in that trial membership, your trial membership says you have 343 days left. Mine says 207 days.
I don't understand that. Don't know. Okay. So that's one thing I don't know, Bob, why you are 207.
Well, I'm thinking what happened is I paid for the full membership, and then it transferred me over, but it calculated the time from when I paid for the full membership.
Well, I had a full membership too, yet mine says 343 days.
Yeah, well, mine says 207 days. I'm getting screwed.
Tim, if I can interrupt, I had a much smaller number there before I clicked on your link. And when I clicked on your link, it switched me to the trial membership in 343 days. So I had like 290 days from a previous, when I initially installed it. And that's what happened.
What I could do, Bob, is resend you the link, okay, for the invite.
I did. You did, and I signed up with that link, and it has a trial membership thing, but it just says 207 days left.
We'll put that on the list to figure out later, not today.
Okay.
The things that you will use on this account screen is this last sync. Like, for example, I sent you a VSAR folder. I found that sometimes you have to sync for any changes in that folder to come to your device. Usually it does it automatically, particularly if you have this selected. But just so you know, this is where you can sync your device with all of your folders in Gaia or the VSAR folder. Okay, I'm going back here to go back. Okay, let's go to units right here. So I'm going to touch on units, and this is where we change our coordinates. So now we're UTM. Now that's degrees, decimal minutes, and you remember this is what we'll get from a helicopter. Okay. I'm going to push it down. This is degrees seconds, and there's degrees minutes seconds. We use decimal degrees, and this is what we usually get from the cell phone. This is very often the deputies will send this. So what I usually do is I use it in UTM, but just for the heck of it, I'm going to leave it in decimal degrees and go units. I'm going to go to map, and look, now Peg Cook, the coordinates here are in decimal degrees. So just like your handheld GPS, when you change the default for the whole unit, then those coordinates are the same throughout the unit. And let's go back to settings down here, settings, and let's change from decimal degrees back to UTM, just like that. And then go back up here to units. Notice the datum here, WGIS 84, imperial units. standard distance in feet, for example. Go back up to settings. Okay. Next thing I want you to do, we'll go to map controls. This is how your unit should work. You want the compass. In Pig Cook, this is why you didn't have the compass on that screen. This may not have been selected.
Oh, I have it on. Yeah. No, it's just that I hadn't. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Stats bar. This is that bar that has the coordinates in it and the record box and elevation. That's the stats bar, they call it. And because stats could be, you know, distance traveled or distance index, for example. Cluster waypoints, I don't know what that means yet, but I have it on. It's very important you have layered maps on. This is where you can layer like Nat Geo on top of Forest Service, or okay. Without this layer, you can't layer the maps. Okay. The rest of that, I just leave. Here's one thing. Oh no, that's not important. You can pick your color for your location marker. So I'm going to go back from settings. Let's see. Go to compass.
On the status bar, your status bar only has 2 boxes. Mine has 3. How do you get rid of one of them?
Let's go back to map. I actually do have 3. 1, 2, 3.
I've got 4 then.
Do you have an iPhone?
I've got an iPhone.
It could be that your iPhone is a wider screen than mine. I'll bet that's
okay.
Right.
Gotcha.
Because on the iPad, you may have 5, 6, or 7, 8 of those. So
Okay.
as your device gets bigger, you've got more landscape. You have more of those. Okay.
Thank you.
Go back to settings.
Yeah. Tim, I've got the same thing. I got 4 across there on my iPhone.
Yeah, because you have a bigger screen. Yeah.
Tim,
Yep.
if you turn your iPhone landscape, you get then more options up there.
Like that.
Yep.
All due to landscape of the screen that you have. Okay, I'm going to go back this way. Thank you, Randy. Okay, go back to settings again. Let's see what else do I show. Oh, let's go to compass. So here, compass. And just like on your Garmin, you know, I recommend magnetic. Compass warning, I'm not sure what that is. Mine by default was on map arrow compass. Okay, let's go back to settings.
Tim?
Yep.
Tim, just to make a quick comment, on the Android, at least on mine, I don't have all these same options that you have.
I don't either. Yeah.
So just be aware that the iPhone, you're showing iPhone, but those that are Androids, it'll look different. But you can, you'll probably find them. You just have to look around to see where it is.
To that point, let me show you this help right here. We're going to leave this menu, but I'm going to show you this help. So we go to help, user manual and support. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to show you something about, let's just click on this, download maps for offline use. So see, there's help here that will lead you through what you need to do. This requires internet access. Come on. What I was going to show you on this is that this will show you the differences between your instructions on an iOS screen and an Android screen. And it actually has side by side. So you can see, okay, Tim's showing me this on his iOS device. This is what it looks like on my Android.
And where did you find that again, Tim? Because I'm not finding it yet.
Under settings.
Let's go back, okay.
I went to help under settings.
So I went into user manual and support.
Okay, yeah, I did that, and then I didn't.
And there it is. So then I went down to, I just randomly picked this one, download maps. This is the instructions for downloading maps. And this talks you to how to download maps. And then it actually shows you, here's an iOS device. And then because of screen size on here, the Android's down here.
Okay.
So you see, this Android looks it's the same things, but the look is very different from here. So when you have an Android and you're confused, go here and it can show you the directions, okay? Okay, now I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go here, go backwards. Okay, then I'm going to X, get out of the help. But this user manual and support is very useful when you want to find things later. Yes.
Tim, this is Stephen. I was going down on this screen and it does show get a refund for a subscription. So for those that paid already.
Well, that's possible. You may try it, yeah. Okay. Okay, now let's go. I'm going to go back here to map. So down here, bottom left-hand corner, map. Okay, so we were just in settings. Let me show you saved. Let's look in saved. I'm clicking on saved. And this is, you need to make your own folder. I'll show you how to do that for when you save your own tracks, for example, your own waypoints. This is the VSAR tracks folder that I click on here and turn it on. And then I'm just going to click on the VSAR folder. Here is, go back here. See this little icon up here? Click on that. I want to show tracks. And here's all the tracks that are in that VSAR folder. Here's an orientation drive, Mingus to Cherry, orientation drive on Mingus Mountain, a lot of like a 413 and 493 roads. Here is an Apache Made track. Here's Dry Creek Vista to Devil's Bridge. Here's Flume Trail, Fossil Creek. Let me go to one I want to show you. Long Canyon Body Recovery, Bear Mountain. Here's Bear Mountain to Fay Overlook. Let's say I need to do that at night, okay? So I click on this, I'm just going to double tap it. I go to this screen, there's the details on it, and then I tap this. It says show on main map, show on main map. And there on your main map is that GPX. Bob, this is the orientation hike that you gave, and Dave McCoy, these are your tracks, Dave. So here's starting from the waypoint, here's going up to the first bench, and then here's, your track over to Fay Overlook. So this is how you actually access and see the tracks that are in that VSAR folder for you. You'll also see that the folder has, I think it has 116 trailheads in it. So that's a trailhead, that's Fay Canyon trailhead. There's Boynton Canyon, Deadman's Trailhead. It just so happens that, see that blue? I click on the blue. That's an orientation hike we had to Mushroom. So this is the track to Mushroom. Click on here. And you actually get to see that track. Again, click on this, show on main map. And there's the track to Mushroom. Okay, let's go back down.
Hey, Tim, Dennis.
Yep, Dennis.
I have a recollection that you said that there could be some dead spots on that and you have to be careful in following those tracks. This is from an earlier training.
Okay, that recollection is maybe with bouncing, Dennis. I think particularly with
Correct.
Particularly with this one, there was, when you're underneath cliffs, you can get bouncing, across the valley, it can be hundreds of feet away. I was careful to take that bouncing out of this one, okay? So I fixed this one. And now this one would be very, very suitable. The bouncing was actually in here, you're going underneath a cliff right here, and the bouncing was across the other side to the gulch. That's all been taken out of this track. So I think the tracks are all okay here, Dennis.
Okay.
Tim, are we supposed to have all this stuff on ours now?
Well, what I did is I sent you an invite to this saved folder, and I realized it's, go back up here, and click on this. I'm going to go to folders right here. I sent you a link to this VSAR tracks folder. We're still experimenting with this. Some people the link works, some people it didn't right away. If you don't have this on your device, go down here to settings and go up to account. And this is the sync that I mentioned to you. Account and sync. Okay, and then you see it start acting over here, thinking, and it might be that then that VSAR tracks would download to your device. If not, then I'll resend you an invite. Let's go back down here to saved, right down here. Here's the VSAR tracks. Here's an example of all the trailhead waypoints. I'm gonna go back up here to saved. And go to this menu item. You can see I can see all of them if I click that. I can see just tracks, I can see waypoints. So let's click all. And you're gonna see maps. These are downloaded maps that I have.
Okay.
Let's go back up and I want to look at tracks. These are the tracks I have. As I go through slowly, I think there's 40 some plus tracks here that, you know, several of us have accumulated over the last couple of years. Some of them are very useful, like there's the 4x4 House Mountain. Let me pick one in particular. So there's Bell Trail, the famous Bell Trail. There's Boynton, Brins Mesa. Looks like there's 2 cathedrals, looks like identical. I'll have to clean that up. There's a Doe Mountain. There's an Earl's Loop, an orientation hike. Secret Canyon, Jack Canyon, Jim Bryant, Lizard Head, Gal, Mushroom, Outer Limits, Outlook Frontier, Parson Springs, Shoulders Pass, Transept, Highline Baldwin, another Beaver Creek, and here's the Robber's Roost. So let's look at this one. Oh, no, let's look at this one. So let's say you hear from Adam Hansen that he needs help for people stuck in Keyhole Cave. You've never heard of Keyhole Cave before. Here's a track to Keyhole Cave that you find it in your VSAR folder. Click on it again, show on main map. And here's the track that you could follow to Keyhole Cave from Teacup Trailhead. So that's the usefulness of these tracks for when you don't know how to get there or it's nighttime, these tracks can help you out. You can put the same tracks on your handheld Garmin also, which I do, okay? So that was the saved file, and if you don't, so I'm gonna click on saved again. And go back up here to saved. I'm gonna click on that menu up there, and I'll click on folders here. And that VSAR tracks folder is what's been made available to all of you. If you don't have access to it, then we'll work it out individually with you, okay?
So Tim, do you recommend that we take a GPX of those VSAR tracks and put them onto our Garmin?
Well, it really depends on how comfortable you are with manipulating with your Garmin.
Well, I need a little help, but I think I understand most of it.
Yes, I recommend you do because
Okay, yeah, that would be good.
I was called out to Robber's Roost and it was nighttime. There's people stuck in, they thought in the cave or on top. I followed the track to Robber's Roost because I didn't know it as well as others would have. But the track on my GPX, I have all these on my handheld GPS. It helps me at night or when I haven't been there before.
Right. So there'll be a way to, I haven't played with it yet. Well, I have to export the whole folder to a single GPX file.
Okay. So I can show you how to do it. We can have another training on that.
Yeah, I can probably figure it out too. Thanks.
Okay, now I'm going to go back down here to map. Okay, and here we are on our screen again. Okay, let's use now another function. Remember I told you about this little plus up here. I'm going to tap that, and this brings up a menu like this. You can start recording a track here, or you can type this, touch that to record a track. Let's add a waypoint. So I click, I'm going to tap that. This screen comes up. And actually I have a practice waypoint in decimal degrees. So I was going to enter for you. I'm going to cancel this. I need to change from UTM to decimal degrees. So I go to my settings. There's my settings. Oops, go backwards in settings. Here's my units. So I tap on units. My coordinate type is here. I want to set this to decimal degrees. There's decimal degrees. I tap units. And I want to go back to the map, so I tap the map. I'm back, and notice I have decimal degrees here. And you know, one of the deputies just sent me coordinates of the subject. I want to put them in here, so I type that. Now I add a waypoint, tap that, and I get this screen. So my waypoint, you know, I tap my finger up there. This happens to be 34, 89, 78. And then I just tap my finger down there, and it's minus 111, 8086, 8086. If I tap save and guide, it'll actually navigate me there as a crow flies. So I don't want to do that. If I enter something wrong, I type cancel, but I'm going to tap save here. Save, and then this screen comes up, and I'll name it, and I'll call it, you know, test waypoint. And then I click save. And actually that happens to be the coordinates the other day from that Devil's Bridge rescue at night. So I called it test waypoint there, but I could have called it Devil's Bridge subject. So to repeat that, you know, I needed to add a waypoint to Gaia. I type that plus, because that brings down this menu. I click add waypoint. The screen comes up, and I just, you know, tap it and enter my waypoint. Tap it, enter the easting, or actually the west and the north, and I click save. And here's my chance to name it. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted you to do is when you save this, I need you to start saving it to like your pig folder or your Mike folder or your Steven folder, because otherwise you'll start saving them to our VSAR folder, and that'll be start filling up them with your personal waypoints or your personal tracks. So type add to folder. With you, I think you're going to want to add a folder. Let's click here, add a folder, call it your name, call it peg. So I'll call it peg, for example. And click save. And now I've got a peg folder that I'd be saving. If I was peg, I'd be saving all of my, you know, when you go out hiking on your own, you may want to save your track. I'd save it in your folder rather than the VSAR folder. I'm going to make that go away.
So Tim, I have a question when you have a second.
Yep. Okay.
So I'm using my iPad, and this has happened to me once before, and I can't remember how to get out of it. So one of the problems is that the options on the bottom of the screen tend to change depending upon certain things you've done. So every time you say click on map, mine now says trip, and I can't get back to a map. And I'm not sure what I did to cause that. So my bottom of the screen, when I'm in the when I'm showing the left-hand bar, basically shows trip, discover, saved, or settings.
You turn it sideways and get more screen.
No, it's still the 4 options.
Okay.
I'm on an iPad too. And it used to be map. So somehow it gets into trip mode, and I don't. So if you haven't experienced that, don't worry about it. I'll do further research. But I didn't know if you'd come across that.
I haven't, but occasionally.
Mine's the same, Peg.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And yeah. And so I mean, one of the things I'll suggest. I know you want to cover a lot of material, but sometimes when you're saying go do this, you might want to slow down just a little bit, because we go to do it and you've moved on already, and it take for us to listen to you, watch it, and then go to our device and do it, maybe just wait a little longer so we could ask a question if we're not in sync with you.
You bet. That's the type of feedback I want if I was going to.
Yeah. I mean, I think, do others, speak up if
I agree. I was trying to find where to make a folder.
Right.
On the Android.
Yeah. Right, yeah, because on the Android, things are a little different, so we're having to look a little bit more to find a similar thing.
One-
But for some reason, I have this trip and I can't get out of it.
Let me click on trip. Is that what you see?
Yeah, but what's missing is the actual one to
Right.
the left-hand side.
Yeah, I don't have the map anymore, right?
Occasionally, I've had Gaia screw up a little bit, and then I exit it, and then go.
Just close and reopen. Yeah.
Can you slide it over? Like slide that bottom bar to show the map?
Oh, that's a good
Not on the
thought.
iPad.
Okay,
There is no slider bar, yeah,
okay.
and I'm on an iPad.
Hmm.
And what's interesting on the iPad is it's not across the whole bottom of the map where those fields are. It's only on that left-hand menu when you click your 4 arrows up in the top. You know, your expand or collapse, that guy. Yeah, go ahead and click that.
Yeah, and then the bottom screen disappears basically.
Okay, but not on, okay, not for us. For me, that's the only way to see the bottom screen.
What I'll do in about 5 minutes or less, I'm going to switch to an iPad, and we'll see
Yep.
what happens. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna click this again, and then let's go redo that add a waypoint. Okay. So this little module, that little plus, when you tap that plus, this extra menu comes up. And the things we'll use on this menu would be add a waypoint, or download maps, or take a picture. These are the ones I've used. Let's practice adding a waypoint again. Okay, so I click add a waypoint, and this screen comes up. And then I tap here, and then just like any phone screen, I can, let's just do a random 8654. I don't know where that will go. And let's do the next one, and let's go 85678. Okay, and then I click save, and then this screen comes up, and if I click in here, I can say another test. Now, what you would be doing is say, DB Devil's Bridge subject, or Sycamore subject, or vehicle, or clue, or hat found, or something like that you'd put here.
Tim, also when you create the marker, you can slide the marker where you want it and it'll update the coordinates.
Okay, you do that on the screen, Don, on the map screen.
Yeah, so add another one and then just move the actual marker with your finger on the screen.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
One thing that might be difficult for you is this folder might say, if you subscribe to the VSAR tracks, it might say VSAR tracks here, and add to a folder. And what we don't want to do is keep adding your personal stuff to the VSAR track folder. So I've already made another folder, but I would think if I tap here, I want to change folder. We're only changing because I already have one as 10. I want to show you how to add a folder. So I'm going to cancel this and go back. I tapped, add to a folder, because this is the folder that I want to add my own personal waypoint to, or my own personal track to. Add to a folder, and tap that. But the only way I can see to get to add a folder might be change folder. And indeed it comes to this screen, and that little plus with the folder, that tells me that I can plus add a folder. So I'm going to tap that. I'm going to call this one, let's say Dawn. And I'm going to say save. Now I've got 2 folders of Pagan and Dawn. And you only probably need to do this once, okay? Create your own personal folder. So you only need to do this once. And I think to get out of here, maybe I'll say done.
I'm not sure, but when I go to choose my folder, I don't even see the VSAR tracks folder. So it may be that you see it because you created it, but we may not even be allowed to add to it.
Yeah, okay, so if you don't see it yet, then send me a note after this and I'll resend you an invite.
No, I have the VSAR, I have the folder. I can see it when I'm looking at my saved areas, but when I save a waypoint, it's not giving me that option to save it to that folder. So I wonder if it's a permissions that you can save to it, but we can't.
It might be, I'll check that later.
So that's my only comment on that. Yeah, I already have the link. I'm good on that.
Okay, in fact, that would actually would prevent the problem of you saving your own personal stuff to the VSAR.
Exactly. That's why I mentioned it.
Thanks.
At least that's how it seems to be working. I can't guarantee I did it all right, but.
So I'm going to I'm going to touch the top part of this, and with me, if I slide it down like this, and it'll go away. I'm going to save this, another test waypoint, and there it is, another test. And I don't know where that's at. Remember, I just pick random numbers. But that's
John Coxcomb.
okay, so that's how you add and name a waypoint and make your own personal folder. We're going to show recording a track, and then I'm going to switch to an iPad, okay? So I'm out and I'm starting a trail, and it could be a search or it could be your own personal, and I just want to keep our tracks folder. Okay, Rick can't see it either. Okay. So I knew there would be little bugs about adding this. This is what we'll work out. Another thing I want to say is I view this as team training. So I'm showing you some of this stuff, but when you learn things, you teach the rest of us and teach me. So we're going to be teaching each other on this. When I want to record a track, it's real easy. I type record, and I'm recording, just like that. Now, when I want to stop recording, at the end of the track, I just touch it.
Unknown caller.
Away. I just tap it again, and I get this screen coming up. And I could pause my recording, say stopping for lunch, stopping for whatever, or I could finish it. In this case, I'm going to finish the track. And then it gives me a chance to name it. In this screen, it's kind of like the waypoint screen. I tap in that area for track. I type test track. And click save. And that saved it to my folder. In this case, it saved it to my Tim folder. Okay. So that's really simple how you record a track. You start a recording. And let's go back to the map and we'll do that again. So to start recording a track, assuming that in this data bar, you click record, and let me show you how you can do that. Oops. Stop. Delete track. Remember, I tapped it, and this is how you can put record up there. Recording button. I'm recording a track. And now I stop the track. I want to finish it. I tap here to get the save screen again. I go up here, tap another test. It's not test. It didn't work out. Another test. Type save. And that saves it to my Tim folder. Okay, that just shows you how to record a track and stop recording.
I have a question, Tim.
Sure.
And I may have missed your answer because I was playing with my Gaia. If you just want to add a random folder, not a Tim folder, just add a folder, do you have to go through the coordinates and the save and all that just to create a folder?
No, you shouldn't have to.
No, you shouldn't, but how do you do it?
Don't know yet. Okay.
think I can answer that. You go to your saved, you go to the saved option down at the bottom,
We're saved.
and then you go, if you click on the folders on the, yeah, that guy there, there's a create folder option.
There you go. And then you would, click on here, create folder, shows the name for the folder. Okay, that's how you do it.
So you go to saved, basically.
So let's go back to the map. This is where at the map. So it's kind of like the base. We go to saved. Saved. And that's a much better way of creating your own personal folder, isn't it? And you go to this little menu up here, Bob. Tap that. And you go to plus create a folder. I'll make one called Bob. And then I'll save it. Now I have a Bob folder.
Sorry, I was muted. I got it. Thanks.
Okay. Go back to map. And I just showed you how to record. This looks like a camera because it is. So I can actually take a picture here. Let me show you later about how to do that. That's, for example, showing collecting evidence, taking a picture of evidence. So again, it's a camera. Take a picture. I'll actually take a picture.
I don't have that on Android, a camera.
Interesting. Okay. Well, there must be another way. Let me show you another way of taking a picture then. I'm going to cancel. Peg this little plus up here.
Yep.
Underneath that plus, it's
Take
also
picture. Oh, I see it.
take a picture there, and it's the same function. So I'm going to take a picture. I can use the photo if I want, or retake if I don't like it. So let's use it. And that will actually show up in waypoints later, geotagged with the time that you took the photo. Okay. So now what I want to do is, and this is one of the most important things now, is looking at map layers. I'm going to stop sharing my iPhone and go to an iPad. Stop share. iPhone goes off. And I'm going to switch to iPad. Make share screen. Okay, now this looks a little different, doesn't it? Okay, so this is my iPad, and actually each of these, like that blue, this red waypoint, those are all tracks that are in that VSAR folder. What we're going to spend some time now is, notice that there's more here on the data bar. There's the coordinates, elevation, sunrise, sunset. Back on that. See all these options come across to that data bar. All you need to do is let's go to this one. I want to change sunset to moving time. And there it's on moving time. Just tap anywhere on the screen here, and that menu goes away. Move this data, make that data back to sunset, so I tap on it. Move it to sunrise, sunset. Sunrise, sunset. There's sunrise, sunset up there. Tap anywhere on this screen. And the menu goes away. Notice at the top here, here's the, the symbol looks just like it did on the phone. You tap that, and it takes me to my current position. Double tap it, it actually will orientate so that it's always kind of like track up. Notice this is a different type of symbol now. It's like a double triangle symbol. And when I move my iPad, it's like track up on your GPS. I'm going to tap that again, and it goes north up. So this is a useful function that now if I tap it, I'm just going to move I'm going to tap this, say, where am I at? Locate me on the map. And it takes you right to where you're at on the map. If I double tap that again, then it's a track up option. I'm going to tap that once, go back, and it's the normal circle again. Now, one of the most crucial things on here is this. Well, there's the search. Here's the menu. Peg, I was just showing you about how to take a picture. Same here. Okay. This is where you add waypoint. You can record a track here, add a waypoint, download maps, or take a picture, all from that little plus. I'm going to tap that plus again. Goes away. One of the really neat things is the ability to get different maps and to stack them. So I'm going to go to, say, this is that area of Gardner Trailhead. Remember, there's all those new trails out here, like outer limits, and they're not on our handheld GPS, but there's maps in Gaia that will show you what those trails are. So first of all, I'm going to click on here. So I'm going to click on those stacks, and this menu comes up. You see this says inactive. These are actually inactive maps down here. It means I've added them to my account. I've added those map options to my device, like Gaia Streets, or Gaia Topo, or National Park Service Visitor. Okay. On up here, these are my active maps. This is US Forest Service 2016. And for those of you that did the 4x4 training with Motion X, this was the map that had the Forest Service roads on it. And you can see the road number like 9543 or 8027. That's the map that was used for, and that's what we use in our Motion X. I'm going to show you National Geographic Trails Illustrated. That is a premium map that you get. A satellite image with topography, with topographic lines. This United States Forest Service Roads and Trails is a new Gaia map. And then this is the motor vehicle use map of the US Forest Service. These are the maps that I recommend that you load onto your device and you download for offline use. Now let me show you how they work. First of all, if I want to add a map, go to the bottom and see Add Map Layers. I'm going to click on Add Map Layers. And then I got all these map source categories. Let's look at United States. So I'll tap United States. And there's the US Forest Service 2016. USGS Topo right here. If I want to add that, I tap it. And in this case, I've already added it. So I'm going to go to another one. I'm going to tap United States, go back. Let's add, I want to add Nat Geo Colorado. I type Nat Geo Colorado. Yeah, it looks pretty nice. So I go up here and tap Add. Add. And I click back, go back to the United States. And then I click back. And back again because I'm in map source categories. Now on my, there's the National Geographic Colorado 14 errors, so I don't know what that means, but it's added to my inactive map. So that's how you add a map. And then when you want to put it up above to make it active, like let's put Gaia Topo up there. Click on that green arrow. Click on the green arrow, and Gaia Topo went on top. And now it's an active map that I can actually show on my screen. If I don't want it up there, I click on that X. And Gaia Topo goes back down below. Okay, so let's add Gaia Streets. I'm going to click on Gaia Streets. Gaia Streets disappears from here and it goes up here. So that's how you click, that's how you add a map, so going down here to add. And then once you add a map, you go backwards in the menu. The map you added will be here. To add it to active, click an arrow. Like let's add NPS visitor. NPS visitor goes up here. Now let's take the NPS visitor away. So I click on that X. I don't want it to be active. It goes back down here. So you never really lose them from your active or inactive. You just make them visible and active, or you make them, hey, they're not going to bother me. They're not going to be in my field of view. I'll make them inactive.
I have a question, Tim.
Yep.
How many layers can you add?
I'm going to show you that. Okay. I'm going to show you what I think are the optimal layers.
And the other question I have is I have no inactives. All my maps are active. So where I don't get that little red mark.
You don't have this red mark like this?
No.
One thing I want to maybe check with you is I'm going to say done here, and I'm going to show you something. If you don't have the inactive and the active, there might be a setting in your map controls that we need to switch.
Okay.
You're done.
Okay.
And on the iPad, to get to settings, you need to click this 4 arrows.
Yes.
You click the 4 arrows. And down here at the bottom is settings.
Wait a minute.
Go slow.
Yes.
And go to settings.
Yes.
Then the settings menu goes in the last sub menu of settings that I was in. So up here, I'm going to go backwards to main settings. Go under map controls here.
Map controls. Okay, I got it.
And then layered maps needs to be on.
Oh. Okay, that was off.
Okay. So it's important to have layered maps on here. So I'm going to go back to settings now. Actually, now that we fixed that for Bob, let's go back to maps. At the bottom left hand is maps.
No, it's trip.
I can't read that, Tim. Does that say maps or trip?
It says trip.
See, yeah, because it's on my screen, it's white on white, so I can't. The only one I can see is the one that's highlighted, like saved or something.
Here that says trips.
Yeah,
Let me show you how to get out here. Go up to that four arrow.
yeah, that's where I only get trip. I don't get map. Down in that bottom left-hand corner where yours says map.
You see that? Actually, mine says trip.
Yeah.
Okay, it does. Yeah. Okay, so maybe that's just another way to get to the map. It's just it uses a different thing than on the phones.
Let's go to this 4 arrows up here. When I 4 arrows,
yep,
it goes away. Okay.
Yep.
I think that's because you're always seeing the map. That's why it doesn't show it as an option. The map is always there.
It figures, duh, what are you?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Gaia representative.
Nice, we have an official trainer for Gaia here, doesn't he? Let's go back to this stack, okay? This is really one of the most crucial features I want to help you understand.
Tim, can I say something? Can you hear me, Tim?
Yes.
All right, so the 3 bars that are in any of the maps, whether they're active or inactive, that is a relocator. You can just pull a map from one location to another as well.
Oh.
Like that, like Heidi was saying, if I'm touching this part of Gita Topo and I'm moving it up to active, see?
Yeah.
And that becomes very important later when I discuss the concept of layering. So that's another way. Thank you, Heidi, for doing that.
And at that point, Tim, you'll discuss whether the order of the maps at the top, how that impacts things.
It certainly does.
Yes, so you'll cover that later.
Right now. Okay.
Oh, right now, okay.
First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I've chosen the US Forest Service 2016 as my base map. And let's just look at that map. So I'm going to click up here and go done. And you see, it's got like that is Forest Service Road 9513. This is Forest Service Road 9595. Okay. This purple, that's a track that I have in my saved VSAR folder. Here's the Gardner, I'll make it larger for you. Here's the Gardner trailhead, but all those other trails are not here that we know are out there, okay? And that's the value of the layered map. So now I'm gonna go back up here to layer, tap layer.
And Tim, can you cover how you made that your base map? Because I'm not seeing an easy option for how to change that.
What I do if you want to change your base, so click on this. Let's wait a minute on that. 'Cause
Okay, yep.
that's to do with the importance of,
I have a different base right now.
well, and click that right hand, like, let's make this my base. Now let's make the satellite my base. Click that right hand and drag it down.
Oh, it has to be the bottom of the active maps.
So
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's what I was missing. So it is the location, which I wasn't, I think that's important to understand.
Thank you. So the bottom map is always your base map.
Okay, thank you. So which one do you want as base, USFS?
I'm gonna make USFS base for the purpose of this, okay? X, and then
Okay,
Nat Geo on top of that. So see the slider bar here?
yeah, okay.
I'm gonna turn
That
that,
makes sense.
and look, it's a very different map now. So I'm gonna go with my slider bar back, and Nat Geo goes away. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see more features of the Nat Geo. Go back up to layers. Here's my Nat Geo, and there's a little white, balloon there. I'm going to touch it, move it over, and Nat Geo then is the layer that's on top of my USFS 2016. Now let's look at this. I'm going to
So for that, I'd like to say something there. I use Nat Geo Trails Illustrated as my top layer, and I have that almost all the way to the right because that gives me the most information, at least when I do it.
And there's actually another way to do it that'll even give you more information, Bob. I'll show you in a minute. Okay. Now I'm going to click done to get rid of this menu and just show you some of that Geo map. Oops, too much. You can see it's exceedingly detailed with all kinds of nice labels here. Sherman Mountain Trail, Red Rock, Upper Rock Loop. So it's a very nice map. There's Coxcomb, here's Erie Trailhead. But it still doesn't have those trails that we know are out here. So I'm going to go back up to my upper layers. I'm going to tap on layers. And I'm going to make Nat Geo disappear. Okay, move the bar to the left, Nat Geo disappears. Now I'm going to look at my satellite topo. I'm going to move it over. I'm going to tap done so I can see the map. So now satellite topo is on top of all these other maps. Nat Geo Trails is not showing anything because I made the transparency basically, it's 0% showing. It's on top of the USFS, and basically satellite topo overshadows everything. You don't see any map below it. I'm going to tap.
That's how you change the base map.
I could make satellite topo my base map, but I'll show you why I don't want to do that in a minute. Okay?
No, I missed how you do it on the
Oh, okay.
overlays.
Go back up here, up to the overlay. And the satellite topo, the way I showed it, Mike, is this slider bar right here, right there. Move that slider bar, satellite goes away. And move it to the right. Satellite.
How do you get the USFS 216 as your base map?
The base map is always the one that's on the bottom of the active.
Yeah, how do you get it to the bottom?
What you do is I'm going to make this road my base.
Okay.
I'm going to touch these three little bars to the side.
Okay,
Now it actually highlights and you can actually move it down.
okay, gotcha.
Now that's my base map. Okay. Then I'm going to do it again, make 2016 my base. I touch those two bars at the side and I drag it to the bottom there. If I drag it,
Other than the base map, Tim, sorry. Other than having the base map at the bottom, does the order of the other ones matter, or is it more the slider bar that matters?
the order matters.
The order matters, okay.
So let's look at satellite topo first. I'm going to click done. I'm going to zoom in to those trails. Remember, we didn't have any trails there before. Now, you can see there's stirrup, lasso, Gardner, roundabout, last frontier. So the satellite map, labeled satellite topo map, has all those new trails. This did not, and Geo did not. And I found that this satellite topo seems to be labeled pretty well with the trails that other maps don't have. And it also benefits you, like here, for example, the high school. High school, in the trailhead, you can actually see very good topographic details. This is one of those that I'll recommend you have offline. Do that again. Cool. Okay, now let's go back and look at another layer. So I'm going to go back up again. I'm going to turn satellite off by going to the left. See how that slider works? And your satellite will disappear. Now let's look at USFS roads and trails. And this is a newer map that Gaia has just put in July. So I'm going to touch that little ball. And to the right. And look at that, more trails came in. Well, let's look at these trails. I'm going to tap done. Zoom in a little closer, closer. If you zoom in enough, you can begin to see labels like there's roundabout, there's Gardner, there's last frontier. What we see now is there's two maps that have those new trails that are not on other older maps. Zoom out again. And go back up to stacks. And I'm going to do something else. Now what I'm going to do is use a true concept of layering. I'm also going to turn on satellite topo. And I've got two on. And look what happens. I've got a satellite topo, and I've got trails, and I've got roads on it. So what I'm seeing here is that this is the base, that USFS 2016 is the base. That base is nearly all disappeared because the other maps are on top of that. And it works out that satellite topo is my bottom layer. USFS roads and trails is my top layer. Now let's examine it. I'm going to go back to done to get rid of this map source. And there's a lot of information on that map, almost too much. Look at all that. I mean, those are roads that are turned on and trails. Zoom in on some of those. Here's trails. There's Gardner Trail. Zoom in a little more. I start seeing there's roundabout that the label comes in. There's last frontier. Here's Forest Service Road 95. Here's Forest Service Road 9513. So this is a map combination where you actually have 4x4 roads on, and you have hiking trails on the same map. Let's go back and see how we did that. Go back up to the layers again. We have USFS roads and trails on. And we have satellite topo on. Let's turn one of those off. Let me turn the satellite off. Satellite's off. Now you've got USFS roads and trails on top of USFS 2016. There's
I can't seem to find USF roads and trails on my menu. Where is that located?
Let's go find it. Let's go down to add map layers, Rich.
Okay.
Add map layers. Okay.
Right.
And I think, well, let's check road maps. Okay, so here's road maps. Let's see if it's there.
Yeah, I looked at that.
Maps. Nope. Okay, so I'm going to go back. Let's look at United States.
I remember this is something that Gaia just sent an email out, maybe a month or two ago to announce this map, and you had to go download it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty new map.
One thing I want you to notice here, I'm under United States maps. Notice the premium ones down here. These are all premium. These up here you can get free with a free membership. Let's go back. Let's find that map. Go custom. No, not there. Let's go road maps. Not there. Let's go topo maps. Not there.
I want to make another comment, Tim.
What's that?
On my iPad, the maximum number of overlaid maps I can have is 5. It won't add another one.
Okay. It also depends on your maps. Like satellite kind of like overlays everything and hides.
It does. Yeah, it takes up a lot of space. I've got satellite, National Geographic Trails, USGS Topo, and Gaia Topo, and then I also added Colorado Trails, so that's 5, and it won't go any further than that.
Hey, Rich, I'm going to have to find out where that USFS roads and trails.
Okay.
Don't
All right,
find.
thanks.
One thing I want to show you though is the importance of layering. I'm going to turn satellite in. There's satellite, and you see the 4x4 roads and the trails. Let's change the layers. Let's make this USFS roads and trails go below satellite. So I'm going to touch those 3 bars. And go below satellite. And look, it disappears. So all those roads and trails from this map are overwritten by the satellite. Let's do that again. I'm going to move USFS back up. Touch those 3 lines on the right, move it above satellite. And look, there's the trails and the roads. Just move it down. Touch it, move it down, and they disappear. That's an example of layering, and layering in the proper way will enable you to see some features of some maps, not others. So I found the best is put that USFS roads above satellite. Okay, I want to show you something else also. So let's go to an area where I'm going to turn this off. Turn this off. We're back to the base USFS 2016 map again. We can go to a road area. I'm going to click done, get rid of that. Let's move this a little more out. We're moving over. So here's Coxcomb.
Hi, Bob. Sorry. Hang on one sec.
I'll mute you, Peg. You're muted. Okay.
Oh, no, she just unmuted you.
Oh, I did?
You're muted again. Don't touch it.
Yeah, you were both touching at the same time.
So here's Coxcomb, here's Erie, here's 89. So I know we're far out, but I wanted to show you what layering maps means for forest roads. So let's go back up here. There's layering. Here's the motor vehicle use map, and this is a big free, almost totally white map that you can get free at the Forest Service. It shows all the Forest Service roads. They actually have it electronically here. I'm going to turn that on. And notice you've got some more roads like shown in here. But I found that this motor vehicle use map is not sufficient. For example, now let me turn on the one below it, USFS roads, and you actually get a lot more roads. I'll turn that one down. Next, what I want to do is zoom in a little bit. So what you're seeing now is you get better labeled roads. I'll go back to stack again. I'm going to turn this one on. You get one extra road. So I found that this motor vehicle use road that is USFS is not one I'd recommend that you need. So I'm actually going to make that go away. I'm going to put it to be inactive.
Good, because I was having trouble finding where I could download it. So I think that's one of the challenges. You found all these maps, and looking through the list, at least quickly, it's not always apparent where that map can be found for that one time you need to get it.
We'll have to look, because these are the maps. I'll look and find where they're at for you.
Yeah.
These are the maps that I recommend you download for offline use.
Right. So maybe an email after the fact that where you document that and just say, this is where you find it and this is the one, and the order to put it in would be really helpful.
That's right. We could look for them and maybe find them now, but I won't.
Yeah, exactly. Not worth it.
Now let me show you Nat Geo Trails. So I'm going to move that over there. Be watching here to see what happens. Let me do something else. So I'm going to turn USFS roads down. You know, Nat Geo Trails does not have Forest Service roads on. Let me turn up this USFS. I'm going to turn this one up. Notice the roads coming over here. See, all those roads came in now. So I'm going to click done, get rid of this map. And you can see, so this is Nat Geo. Now there's a little road here, but it's not labeled, but now you see it's 9513. 9513. Or, you know, these little forest roads are 9554M. We found with the four-wheel drive missions we've been on, it's really crucial that you know those Forest Service roads and their numbers. Because you'll get a deputy will say, meet at the junction of 9513 and 9544M, for example. And you'll have to have a map on your device that will tell you where that's at. Okay. Nat Geo Trails, I used to love it, and I still like it a lot, but it doesn't have all the data that we need for search and rescue. Let's go up here to stack. I'm going to turn Nat Geo Trails down. Okay. And now the base map, the USFS, actually shows up more. Now you see these red, 9586J, which is also the same number here, 9586J. When I turn off USF Force Roads, you know, some of those numbers go away. So this is just showing you that there's really no one perfect map for everything, and you need a combination. I think kind of like one of the best combinations that I've found is a satellite topo, turn on, and then USFS Roads and Trails turns on, and then you've got a satellite map. You've got terrain, you've got Forest Service roads on it, and you've got hiking trails on it. So it's quite a combination. And you know, if you don't need forest roads or you don't need the terrain, you can turn either one of those off. Please send me an invite to Gaia. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Okay.
One question, Tim. I'm confused about one thing anyway. A little bit of 5-10 minutes ago, you mentioned that the order of the layers when you're into where you can do that. You showed us that if one was on top of the other, that the stuff disappeared when they were both enabled. But now you're showing that they're both showing. I'm a little confused about the difference.
Okay, let me show you that again. So I go back up here to the stacks.
Yeah.
And what you see is that this USFS Roads and Trails is on top of satellite.
Yeah.
I'm going to make this USF Roads and Trails go down underneath satellite. And let me show you what happens. I touch this, there's 3 lines.
Yeah.
You have highlights. I put it underneath satellite. So now the satellite is the top layer and those roads disappear.
So even though they're both enabled, it's disappearing. I guess that's what's confusing me.
It's kind of like satellite is like so
powerful.
It's an image. You're covering an image over.
Okay.
When you think of the layers, honestly, I was going to ask Tim, why don't you always have your satellite, your imagery at the bottom as your base? Like that's kind of GIS 101. Because then that way you never cover up a layer above it. So if you think of these layers in the base, you think of a blank sheet of paper and you're putting your aerial down first, and then you lay your roads on top of your aerial, and you're kind of stacking from the bottom up.
Yep.
We never put an aerial anywhere above because you might cover up another layer. So your imagery will cover up anything because it's a picture, not like lines and things like that.
It makes good sense. Thank you, Don. So let's now, so then we move satellite to the base. So see, it's at the base here.
Yep.
And now let's turn USFS up. And it actually covers up satellite, but we can do it part ways.
Well, yeah, that's opacity. So you can change the opacity of the layer. So you can, if you have it all the way up, you're just going to see that layer. But if you have it at like 50%, you're going to see, you'll still see it, but you'll be able to see the layers behind it as well.
So I'm turning that one totally off, the opacity to 0. Let's turn this one, USF Roads, down. And then you've got a satellite map that is labeled for some roads, but all trails. If you want the roads, you turn that one back up. And then you have the roads on the satellite. So I like Don's, very logical solution, basic GIS, put your on the very bottom, the picture, on the very bottom. Okay, so that's the importance of layers. And you see that, Peg, that one layer actually disappeared. It was because of what Don said. It was an image versus...
Right. That's what was confusing me, because at one point you're showing you bring the opacity up on both and you saw them all, but then in another case you were saying you don't see it. So that's what was confusing me. But now I understand. So thank you, Don and Tim, for that clarification.
Tim, where did you get the USF Roads and Trails?
We haven't been able to find it yet.
That was a question that...
That's going to be a post-training benefit for you to find.
And I know I got it through an email link that was sent to me because of my free Gaia membership at the time. They just did an announcement. I'll see if I still have that email anywhere.
Okay, so we've got about 6 minutes. I showed you the differences in details and features in the different maps. These maps that are active are the ones I recommend you download, and let's talk about how to do that. So I'm going to make this map menu go away. And download a map is that plus, it's right here. But first, what I want to do is go back to stack maps. You select one, so you're actually showing that map. And then you go to plus. Plus, you download a map, click on download, and you come up with this screen. Yours won't be red. Mine is red because it's actually, zoom out. Mine is red because that shows you the maps I've already downloaded. And so you can see multiple, a red box there, red box there, red box there. Multiple red boxes imply multiple maps that I've downloaded. For you to download a map, you're going to come, you see these four dots? As you spread them out, you're going to be covering the area. Like I cover from Flagstaff almost to north of Prescott. It would have been best on my iPad if I didn't have any maps downloaded, because I could have showed you how to do it.
Can you move to a different area that you haven't downloaded maps and it might show better?
That's a good point. So if we'll go over here.
There you go. Yeah, go to California or something.
See there?
Yep, that works.
I'd be downloading that map. Okay. There's Petrified Forest. And actually, there's some important features here. Just like on Motion X, those of you remember, there's a degree of detail that you could load. See up here? This red square right now is 21 tiles, 1.3 gigabytes. That's a sizable map. See, this maximum zoom is 15. I can change that zoom by changing this. Look, it went from a gigabyte to 347. I think a maximum zoom of 14 has been working for me, but I haven't done enough downloads to see if 13 is okay or 12 is okay. Like if you move this more to the left, you get to 12, then it's 25 megabytes, 10, 8 1. I mean, you must be losing a huge amount of detail.
Yeah.
Let's move this to 15, 1.3 gigabytes, 1.3. So a lot of this depends on the memory capacity of your machine. I think my iPad has 256 gigabytes. Of all the maps I've downloaded, I'm only using 10 gigabytes. So the maps that I recommend you download might be in the range of 4, 5, or 6 gigabytes, which even for a 16 gigabyte device, which is probably the minimum of an older device, you should be okay. But that's how you download, and then you click down here, save.
And just to clarify, Tim, we had to pick the base layer, and that's the only map that we're downloading at that point? Or not, when I say the base layer, we had to layer the map to the one we wanted to see. And then when we do the download, it's only downloading from that map.
Right.
Okay.
For each individual map, you need to pick it, show it on your screen, and download it. So if you want to download 3 maps, you need to do this 3 times. Okay. And then it's just, click save. Let's say I want to, this is Petrified Forest area. I click save. And see this little asterisk up there? That means it's downloading. You click on that, it'll actually show you, yep, I'm downloading that Petrified Forest right there and there and there. It must be a combination of a couple different maps for that detail.
And just to clarify, was it did it have to be your base map under your layers, or just one that you had pushed the slider over on?
It's one that you push the slider over on.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm going to say stop on that for now and say done. And there is a tutorial, there's a video when you go to the help area in what was that called? Under settings. There's a help right there. Go backwards on settings, go into help, and this user manual and support. You click on that, and there's help about how to download maps for offline use right there. So afterwards, you go to the help menu in settings, and it'll help you do it. You can watch a video. Okay, one last thing I want to show you, and that is how to use geotagged photos. Like you're walking, you're actually tracking yourself on Gaia, and you find footprints, you find clues, and you want to photograph them, geotag them, and link them to your track. So I'm going to go back to my saved down here, and I'm going to look at, and these are tracks, and I actually have, so forgive me, I'm going to go through this fast. You're gonna get, there it is right there. This is part of my Tracker 2 training. Denise, this is what you took me on for Tracker 2 training. You see there's a track here and there's pictures. So I want to look at that. I want to click on that. If I click on this again, I want to display it, show it on main map. And there's actually was my track. So I'm going to
All the waypoints.
I'm going to zoom out. This is along Beaverhead Flats. This was the training session. You know, we parked our cars here, and then Denise had laid a track, which we were able to follow. We followed Denise's track up here and followed it back. And then she tried to confuse us by crossing herself, crossing her own track. This was the track following Denise's track that she laid for our Tracker 2 training. These little things are photos. Let's zoom in on them. Oh, I know what I need to do. I was trying to make this go away. And what I need to do is tap that 4 arrows up there. It goes away. There's my tracks. And tap one. This is my photo, September 3rd. Tap that. And it actually shows me what the photo is. And it happened to be a clue that I found at that location along the track.
Looks like you left it, Tim. It's Belvita.
No, it wasn't me though. Go back up here, exit. So see, there's your photo. There's the UTM, elevation. The time is up here. So everything is geotagged and timed, and it's located on your track. You could actually email this track with the photos. Unfortunately, it becomes like a 90 megabyte mail, so it's not practical. So we'll have to find another way to send this to the detective, but at least you're recording photos on your track and they're geotagged and timed. Let's go look at another one. Let's look at this one. My photo. Let's see what that one is. Oh, looks like, oh, that's toilet paper, a clue, and there's part of the track right there. So that shows you one example of utilizing take a photo from this part of the menu. All I did is take a picture when I was out there, and camera access disabled. Okay, I'll have to take care of that another time. I wasn't using this device out there, but that shows you how you can take pictures using this menu, tag them to your track, and they're geotagged, tied to your track, and you've got quite a nice depiction of track and photos and evidence collection. Okay. The last thing I want to show you, or just tell you, is that I found that Gaia on your iPhone will work in Apple CarPlay. So if you have a newer vehicle, 1, 2, 3 years old, you've got Apple CarPlay, plug it in for CarPlay, use tap on Gaia, and you can actually see this map on your car display. I think with Android, there's a comparable Google Play, I think, that you could use in your car if your car is equipped for, I believe it's called Google Play. I found it to be very useful. You can actually see the forest roads and trails on your car navigation LCD screen as you're driving. Okay, so that's actually an intro to Gaia. And what I would say is that you play.
I want to add one more thing.
Okay.
For those that don't have a very new vehicle, you can install that Apple CarPlay and Android Play on your vehicle by a company up in Flagstaff. I'm not selling anything and I'm not pushing it, but if you're interested, I can give you the name of the company and they'll install it for probably around $500-600.
So here's that track. Thank you, Bob. And it works pretty well for you, doesn't it, Bob?
Absolutely, I love it. And the way, I love that map on my, because I have National Geographic's Illustrated, and that shows up on my Apple CarPlay on my Forerunner just perfect. And Denise will attest to it because she's seen it several times.
So just as we leave, I want to show you the different maps. Here's Nat Geo. That's, you know, not so good when you're in close. Here's, I'll turn Nat Geo off. There's a satellite. Here's USF roads and trails. Oh, there's, see how that forest road came up very clear with USFS roads and trails right up here. There it's on, and there's the forest road. So we've covered a lot today, and what I would say is when you have questions, you know, pop an email to me and I'll answer back to everyone. And then if someone else in the group can answer it better, please do that. Like I said, this is group training. Each of you know a little bit more about this or different features of it. So we'll help each other learn this. But I would say that this is a good replacement for Motion X. And it's a good add-on to our handheld GPSs, and in some places it'll replace our handhelds because it has trails on it on these maps that is not on our handhelds. So I would recommend everyone try this. Try this combination of maps. I'll send them to you with locations in an email after this. And as you experience it and you learn new things, let us know as a group. Okay? Yes, Peg.
Find the email for the maps and trails. So I will forward it to you, Tim, for you to take a look at it and then maybe include it when you send it out. There was an email that came out on July 30th.
Very good. Okay. So I've already taken you 7 minutes past your time. Thank you very much. You've learned.
Thank you.
Okay. So this is the first step of learning. You've got a head start. Now let's teach each other on this. Okay.
Tim?
Yes.
Will this be on documents so we can look at it again?
I will send you a link to the recording. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Hey,
Okay.
Tim, question for you.
Yep. Who's that?
I have a Don.
Don, yes.
Have you looked at the future weather overlays layers?
Oh, that's pretty cool. I know.
It's got the fire. They sent an email out that they do fire overlays. So that might be something for us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's, you know, just take 5 or 10 minutes and look through all the huge variety of maps that are available. With your premium subscription, you should be able to get access to all of them, particularly that Firewatch one. So, okay, I'll end the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance. And you good, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Louise, see you soon. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Great.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Tim.
All right.